Hey everybody, how's it going? So, as you can see, an absolute historic soon-to-be victory over the Russian-Ukraine war. This is big news. The left is absolutely coping, just coping over this. I have never seen such an egregious side of politics. Leftists, no wonder they only have like a 15% approval rating by the public right now. They're all upset. They are bloodthirsty. They are consistently violent. They want the war to keep going. And it's like they magically think Ukraine was going to win this. This is ridiculous. At some point, Putin would have pulled out the big guns and absolutely just leveled Ukraine if this didn't stop. If it doesn't stop, that is what will happen. There's no way around it. It doesn't matter how many weapons we give the Ukrainians at all. It really genuinely doesn't. They're a bigger country. Unless we actually gave Ukraine our military might to the fullest, which they're not even an ally. They're not a NATO member. Why would we ever do such a thing? It's insane, because that would directly lead into World War III. As long as Putin goes after countries that are not part of NATO, World War III can never happen, because we're not supposed to interfere to that degree. But the left apparently thinks that we need to be the world police now. It's remarkable how different the left is from when I grew up. You know, whenever South Park, the creators, Trey Parker, Matt Stone, were creating things like Team America, making fun of people who thought America was the world police. Anybody remember that? It's kind of wild how they flipped. How all these leftists have flipped. And they're like, no, we should go in there. We should bomb anybody we don't like. That's crazy. It's absolutely insane. I got into an argument with a guy earlier. Probably the best argument I think I've ever gotten into. Where a guy literally had to walk back every single statement he made about, well, Biden didn't want to get involved with Ukraine because it's really none of our business. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Biden funded the war. Biden caused this war to happen. Literally, he was the absolute cause of the war. Putin came out and said he never would have invaded. Just literally yesterday, he had said, we never would have invaded if Trump would have been president. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But anyway, I'll get to that here in a second. Let's read some of this stuff. So, you know, I guarantee you this guy's probably absolutely definitely a leftist. You could always tell because they hold Trump to the standard of releasing the Epstein files when Biden had 4 years to do so with his FBI, his DOJ. It was on his watch. The entire investigation was on Joe Biden's watch. Why didn't he release the files? Oh, but Trump's at fault. You know what I mean? It's absolutely ridiculous. If Trump were in those files, why would they have used the Steele dossier and try to frame him against Russia? They literally framed a crime for Donald Trump instead of just releasing the files with Trump's name all over it, right? No. The Democrats just go out and they make a crime up. 2 crimes up, actually. They ended up making up the value of his house as well. Wild, right? Because all you got to do to know that literally all you have to do to know that Trump was lying about how much his house value was is go pull up his neighborhoods on Zillow, look at all the surrounding houses, look at the price per square foot, take Mar-a-Lago, times it by the price per square foot, and all of a sudden you see that the DOJ absolutely lied. Not just the DOJ, but everybody that was saying that Trump was at fault and that he had done an illegal thing there by taking out a loan worth more than what his property was worth, even though he paid every single dime of that back way before, like, what was that, 20 years ago he paid it all off? And then literally you multiply it by the price per square foot and all of a sudden it's like, wow, okay, all of a sudden his house actually is worth that, which is how you actually price a house. You know how I know that? Not only have I taken out 2 mortgages, I've also taken out a HELOC in the past. Kind of crazy how they ended up determining what your house is worth. It's based on all the other houses. As long as your house isn't in disrepair, the value doesn't go down. So anyway, very simple. Anyway, amazing. Epstein files. You see Zelensky there. Little short. That's funny. Let's see if he's a leftist real quick, though. I got a New Hampshire nationalist and unreliable narrator. Libertarian Homeland. Okay, so I'm libertarian. I'm going to guess he's a leftist, part of the Libertarian Party that, you know, can't figure out what gender is either. Enough our cousins. I don't know what this guy's talking about. They always go talking about Israel and Palestine. I could care less about that. Trump deserves Nobel Peace Prize. Trump working hard to make the world peaceful again. Exactly, I agree. Historic what? Russia continues to bomb Ukraine. I can understand by saying historic what, if indeed the war doesn't end. But this moron doesn't understand how historical this actually is if literally he gets this war ended, which I think will happen within the next 48 hours. Trump 47 is the best president since Abraham Lincoln. I agree, but, you know, I mean, I think he may be better than Abraham Lincoln, in my opinion, especially if he ends this war. Anyway, great man. Let's see, where... I think there was another thing. How come Biden couldn't make this happen? 19 minutes ago. Wonder why nobody's responding to that one. President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Obviously, I think he deserves a retweet. Putin the beast. I don't know what he's talking about. Are they talking about the car? Trump's vehicle? Putin the beast is missing? I have no idea what he is referencing here. Let's take a look at JD Vance, though, what he said. This is kind of crazy, some of the comments on this. Vice President Vance and POTUS met with Zelensky at the White House yesterday to discuss a pathway to peace in Eastern Europe. Now, this idiot says, peace through bombardment. Trump's new doctrine for Ukraine. Nothing says diplomatic triumph like letting Putin pulverize cities while Vance demands gratitude notes from Zelensky. That's just wrong, but okay. After Anchorage Summit 816, Trump abandoned ceasefire demands, accepting Russia's bombardment as leverage strategy he would have called barbaric in 2024. That's not what's happening at all. He's skipping the entire ceasefire to go to ending the war now. What's the point in having a ceasefire right this second and then negotiating the war instead of just being like, look, we're just done with this. Let's just get it over with ASAP. Let's not even waste any time trying to negotiate out a ceasefire. Because if they negotiate out a ceasefire, then the end of the war, it won't be 48 hours later. It'll be 72 to, hundreds of hours later, actually, probably. It probably won't even happen till next week now. I think this is the right move. If it ends the war within 48 hours, a ceasefire would have been the dumbest thing they could have possibly done. If not, okay, well, then maybe they should have gone for a ceasefire. So it all kind of depends, right? Anyway, this is where he tells an absolute lie. Vance then told Zelensky yesterday, okay, check this out. You'll get peace when Putin says so. Really now? Is that what he said? Let's just go to Google, okay? Google.com, right? Let's see if this is true at all. Let's just type this right on in. You'll get peace when Putin says so. Okay. Friendship, okay. Nothing here. Trump says Putin may not want to make a deal. Okay. You think that these people, White House Zelensky meeting plans, live updates, this was never said. Do you think CNN and them really would not have come out and said, wow, Zelensky said you'll get peace when Putin says so? Are you serious? That was never, ever, ever said at all. This dude's just lying. How many followers does this loser have? 11,000 followers. And he just flat out lied about what Vance told Zelensky. This guy is absolutely fake news. Fake as fake can get. Okay? Just letting you know. How dare you actually quote somebody lying like that? That actually should be defamation. Because he knows for a fact that never happened. Anyway, look at this guy. This administration is disgusting, embarrassing, and evil. Oh, but JD Vance kept his mouth shut. Yay. The guy's a pathetic joke. I said, only a leftist would think peace is evil. And of course, told this guy, Biden's war's over, go cry, But anyway, stop funding the war with our money already, and it'll end. Too easy? Well, okay. I don't know about that. As of this moment. I think we need to see if this war will end. And if it doesn't, it's in Europe's best interest to not allow Putin. I'll say this for sure. It's in Europe's best interest to not allow Putin to take Ukraine. For sure it is. However, the EU needs to fund it. Absolutely. It's their borders. It's their risk. They need to fund their own security. We need to stop doing that. Now, always depends. Did he say please? He actually did. He actually did say please. which is great. Thank you for standing up for Ukraine. People of Ukraine are brave fighting. Yeah, okay. All good stuff. JD Vance is right about Europe. JD Vance flew to Europe, walked into Munich, and told European leaders to their face that they are communists, and then flew home. Yeah, I'd say that's... he did more than that. He did a lot more than that. He straight up told them that you all don't believe in free speech. You all don't have free speech. And he's dead on accurate, you know? Anyway, I'm just glad everyone got along this time. When you and your gang are ordering pizza and the... Oh, man, get wings too. Yeah, no, I've been there. I hope you guys are successful this night and day. Let's see. JD Vance doesn't stop working. Good job. I'm trying to find a little bit more of the negatives there. The negatives are pretty funny to me. Very, very funny. Since the president often says that this war would have not started if we were in office. Check this out. This is a great video to kind of close this off with here.
Since the president often says that this war would not have started if he were in office, and
True.
And Putin confirmed that.
It's true. Do you accept that as truth? The
Probably.
European leaders do.
Well,
And President Putin himself said that, by the way.
Yes, he did say that. He absolutely said that. She knows that he said that. The European leaders acknowledged that he had said that. That's such a hit to the Democrats. It's unbelievable. Hey, this loser's back. Preventing a war is a curious way to describe hosting a summit where the aggressor dictates terms on American soil. You have no idea whatsoever who was dictating terms. You have no idea who set up terms. You have no idea what anybody has agreed to because it has not been released. So for this person to sit there and say, you just gave everything to Putin, before anything has even been talked about, shown, or anything? Really? Why is Zelensky thanking America if all we did was just capitulate to Russia? You have no idea. Maybe we did capitulate to Russia completely. Maybe the deal is we're going to cut Ukraine in half and give it to Russia. I have no idea. But I sure as hell am not going to make claims that that didn't happen. I'm not going to make any claims about any negotiations until I know what they've negotiated. That's what, being a sensible person is. That's what being a good person is. But if you want to be a very, very, very bad person, you'll sit here and say stuff like this as if you know without actually knowing. It's less about deterrence and more about providing a stage for Putin's victory speech. How do you know this? How could you possibly know this until everything is revealed? Unbelievable. A truly unique diplomatic strategy. At August 15 Alaska Summit, Putin spoke for over 8 minutes to Trump's 3, blaming... Okay, so I don't care that he spoke for 8 minutes and Trump spoke for 3. That's irrelevant completely. Depends on the points they want to get across. Blaming Ukraine for the invasion Russia started. No. They blamed Biden. They blamed Biden and failed peace talks and sanctions. Russia was backed into a corner, and they said, well, you guys are doing this. You guys aren't listening to me. I'm taking what I want. That's what happened. It was the failed leadership of the United States during the Biden administration and the failed leadership of all of the European Union. That's what happened. None of them wanted to talk to Putin. He invaded, and then they allowed it. They allowed it. Trump was like, why are you guys just letting them take Ukraine? What if we actually talk to him and see what he wants? See what we can hammer out? That's the difference. It's unbelievable how much people like this will just twist everything. It says automated. I don't know who this is. An X-ray of the White House scanning buried realities, sharing uncomfortable truths and making democracy healthy again. That's such a scam. This person should actually be... I think this person should be deleted from X. Because they're just making stuff up and passing it off as truth. With absolutely no evidence whatsoever. That's just blatantly sharing false information that everyone can verify is false. Very easily. Absolutely psychotic. This war started because Joe Biden was weak. She's such a Biden-Obama loving hack. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Anyway, so let's see some more of this garbage. Meanwhile, the admin's peace terms devolved from Russia ceding land to demanding Kiev, surrendering the Donbass. This isn't peacemaking. It's managing decline. Who ended up surrendering the Donbass region and all these other areas in Ukraine? I believe that was Obama. Also, Bush. How much land did Ukraine lose to Russia when Bush was president? It's kind of wild how they didn't lose any land when Trump was president. It's kind of wild how they're not losing any more land now that Trump is president again. Just strange how that happens, isn't it? Just a weird coincidence. You know, it's almost like our past presidents were complete and total weak. I can't say the word, but PUSSYs. Okay? Very simple. The admin isn't selling peace, it's selling weapons and photo ops while our allies play the strategic price. Really? So when the war ends, it's not peace? It's only peaceful whenever you're firing on people? Really? You're completely ignoring the Russian perspective. Why? Oh, and this person says, I didn't know you were an insane bot/human. Ignore my question and carry on. Yeah, I think this is a bot. I don't know what's going on. Is this just AI? Is it AI? Is that what this is? Like, I'm so confused by it. Anyway, guys, it automated by Jason is Wi-Fi. So this guy. Let's see. Oh, yeah, he's an AI engineer. So he just made a really, really, really hostile AI bot. And that's what's going on. So, for those of you seeing this probably from White House X-Ray, I'd like to briefly introduce myself so you know who is behind the AI bot. I consider myself a Republican against Trump. This guy is just fake. This is insane. I get that he's AI, but the fact that he's allowing this bot to come out and absolutely make false claims, blatantly, easily provable false claims, where he's saying things like, this is wild to me, that it's making up quotes that have never been said. So, this dude should seriously probably be banned from X. This is absolutely ridiculous. You cannot just sit here and make stuff up, knowingly lying. Like, sitting there saying that Vance said you'll get peace when Putin says you'll get peace, blatantly lying and pushing that off as fact. I don't think that should be allowed on this platform, especially if I had said something like that on my platform at all. If I said something like that here on YouTube, my account would be gone. It would be gone in a heartbeat. So there's some special privileges going on, and I don't like it. Now, if they wanted to allow me to say stuff like that too, not that I would, but if they said, yeah, you're fine to do that, okay, fine, maybe then. But if you're going to hold me accountable, I'm going to be holding you all accountable. Everyone else, you know what I mean? Anyway, that's all I have to say about this. I love watching leftists just melt down. I love seeing how the lefties are saying that this is an evil regime because we're ending wars. Wild. Just a wild take. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys here in the next one. Later.